Hello, these are assembly instructions for making your Tiny Drive wind-up arcade game. Step 1. Take parts 1, 4 and 3. When you're pushing parts out, if you push them out towards you, you're less likely to make a split on the nice face. Now take the metal key . That will push in there. Now we need our barrel ends. Here's the piece with the arrow. Now you must pay attention to the orientation of the arrow, so it's pointing up to the left. With the etching on the inside. Now we take the other barrel end, and it says don't push on fully yet. So we're just going to push that on so it's snug but not all the way in, because we want room to get our planks in. Alright, so now we're going to put our planks in. We're going to start at the arrow and move around clockwise, laying them out in this order. And there's the start plank, matches up with the arrow. So here's our planks. So let's find our arrow. We'll put the start plank in with the arrow. So I'm going to push this end all the way in, 100%, and this end is just going to rest in slightly, say 50%, because we need room to get our following planks in. Next plank, 100% in on the left, and nudge that in slightly on the right. And we're going to work our way around so that we get them all in the right order. And the last piece is going to be the hardest one to get in. And if you want to, if you find these are too close, you can get a tool like a knife, just a butter knife or a flat screwdriver, and you can pry that off a little bit more. So you can get that down. And if these drop down, you can always bring them up into alignment with the holes and push. Now push this end barrel piece on 100% all the way in. Make sure it's hard up all the way around, otherwise our barrel will be a bit too big and won't run as smoothly because it'll be the wrong size. Alright. Now we're going to put our walls on. So it says to wax this inner bearing hole. So we've got some wax here. This is for lubrication, helps things run nice and smooth. So wax the inside, wax from the outside. And then we're going to find this piece 32, which is the piece that has slots, compression joints. Fit that in. Get the key into this hole. And then push on the other wall. Okay, now we need part 33, which is our steering column. And our front wall, back wall and top wall. If you put your fingernail in close to the edge, you can help prevent any wood splitting as you push the joints together. Okay, now we've got our little car assembly. Now these pieces are best done with glue, because if they do come apart then they're hard to get back together, so it'll be a bit more secure if we put a little bit of super glue on there. For children you might want to just use PVA wood glue, so don't use too much, just a drop. You don't want to get any glue in the mechanism, because this has to slide freely. Make sure they're nice and perpendicular, and make sure that glue is set before you put this into the machine, so that you don't glue the car fixed inside. You want this car to be free to move. A little bit of wax on here could be a good idea also, and on the edges, just to stop things catching. Make our car move nice and smoothly. And this sits into the slot there, so it can run back and forth. So now we're going to put on our windscreen. Again, make sure you put your, let's get the steering column in first. Put your thumbnails nice and close to the edge to stop any splitting. And it should click into place. Now our steering wheel. This piece can be a bit tight because we want it nice and snug, so we might like to sand these little holding lugs a little bit so that we don't do any damage. We can get it in nice and snug, but don't sand off too much, just enough to help it press in tightly. Even a bit of wax can help it push in, and wax the whole shaft of that pin. And push that in a nice supported way. There we go, it's nice and snug. Alright, that's going to go onto the shaft, and this pin is going to go into the slot in the car, so that it helps to steer the car. And we're going to secure it with this little ring. Okay, now we've got this little stopper piece. This stops the music box when you reach the end of the track, and that's going to push in so it's horizontal to this little hole. And here's the piece that engages with the stopper. Now when you put this on, you must make sure the stopper, the little piece we just put on, is in front of this lug, and that you are at the start of the track. So it's going to fit on like so. So you're at the start, and this piece is sitting behind the stopper so that it would rotate and hit up against it. And now we're going to put on our winding handle. Okay, now we're going to put on our music box. And we're going to use, well, first we're going to wind it onto the key. So wind on and then preload 1.5 extra turns. Because we want to make sure that it still has a bit of power even when it's at the end. So wind on until the thread's all on. There we go, it starts getting tight and starts clicking. Now we're going to give it 1 and see if it lines up with those holes. So at least 1 turn before it lines up. So now it's lining up, so let's get our little screws. Here's our screws, we've got 4 of these. Got to hold it in place with your thumb so it doesn't unwind. And screw in that first screw. Don't screw too tight. Once you get it all the way in, then stop screwing. You don't want to strip the thread inside the wood. And now put on the remaining screws. Now we can test it out. Let's wind it up until you get back to the start. There we go. Now we can drive through our little landscape. Oh, there's a bridge. So at the moment, you can actually go through the obstacles if you wanted to. So this makes it easier if you're a child. But if you want to make it more challenging, you can glue on the raised obstacles so that if you hit something, you will actually stop. Now here it explains how you can stop the barrel at any time by making a break using a piece of scrap wood. So let's snap off a piece like this, and if we push that, just sit it in here, it will stop this little rubber regulator from spinning, which means when we wind it up, it won't continue to play, which is helpful for when we're gluing on the obstacles. So we have the Country Lane kit, so let's glue on our obstacles. And we're going to start at the end and work our way back to the beginning. So this building here, I'm going to use super glue. It's nice and quick. Again, for children, young children, they may want to use PVA glue. Just a few dots. And make sure you get this lined up nicely. And the right building. push it hard up to the right, to make sure you've got enough space for your car to get through. Okay, these two buildings. Push that one hard to the left. This one hard to the right. Put the car to the right and check that you can actually get the car past the train. This is it's a tight fit. Try to make this challenging. So you have to get the car to the extreme. Now these trees, have a look at the graphics to see how they line up. Okay, and back to the start. That is all of our obstacles in place. You notice that if you keep winding, it now hits the stopper, and that's as far as you can wind. So before driving, make sure that your glue is all dry. Now when you pull out the stick, things will start moving. Let's have a play. Just sneak past the train. Now you can go the easy way or the hard way. I'm going to go the easy way. And we're back to the start. Now you might have the city version, in which case instead of putting on these obstacles, you'll be putting on cars, and this is the recommended layout for the cars. You could make up your own car layouts. I also recommend that you put a little X on the barrel where the cars are going to go before you glue them on, just to make sure you get them in the right spot. But again, you're going to start at the end and work your way back using this stick to stop the motion. And you can also make your own landscapes if you like. So you can use an A4 piece of paper. It's designed so that it will fit an A4 piece of paper, and cut it to 93 mils and draw on your design without putting any obstacles in this dead zone, because that's as far as you can drive. And then you can wrap that around the barrel and fold the ends and slip them into the crack, into this start crack, and then put some sellotape over that to hold it in place. And if you want to make your own landscape, you have to do it before gluing on any obstacles, so that it all sits against this the planks directly.